Hi, everyone, and welcome. It's the ICBA Daily Morning News for September 14th, 2023. I'm going to give you the heads up on Canada falling even further behind in our building targets, building new homes target. Not great. How Edmonton and Vancouver are dealing with budget issues and a surge in apprentices in British Columbia. For links to sources, as always, go to the ICBAindependent.ca, www.icbaindependent.ca, because we can't post media links here on Facebook because of the Trudeau government's foolish online news act. Let's get this settled. It's crazy. All right, let's get to the news. I'd love to come on here one day and just give you some positive housing news. I feel like every day there's another housing study, another stat, another thing that just shows how badly we are managing housing in this country. Today is not that day. I do not have good news for you. Sorry, folks. The latest Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation report says Canada is on pace to fall 3.5 million homes short of what it needs to build to restore affordability by 2030. So basically, this means that Canada needs to build or is building its usual 220,000-ish homes, new homes a year. That's a number that's been stagnant since the 1970s. If you want to know why you're in a housing crisis, population has grown. You're still building the same number of new houses as you did in 1972. Doesn't make any sense. You need to add another 600-ish thousand on top of that 220-ish thousand every single year through 2030 in order to get to housing affordability. Basically, we need to build almost a new Greater Vancouver's worth of home stock every year in this country. That is a tall challenge and gives you an idea of just how far behind our policymakers have left us when it comes to housing. Worse, the report says its projection of how many actual homes will be built by 2030 has been dropped by 600,000 due to high interest rates slowing financing, said the CMHC economist about our elected leaders, quote, "I'm not sure that the scale of the challenge has yet gotten through." Yeah, you think? Oof, bad news. In city news, both Edmonton and Vancouver are grappling with tax increases, budget deficits, and spending pressures. Edmonton City Council was told yesterday that the city is on pace for almost a $74 million deficit this year, which means they'll need to pull out of reserves to cover the costs. And those reserves, because of the money they'll be needed to cover this, will drop below their usual minimum required balance. And it gets dangerous because obviously cities need to have some kind of cushion. You need to have a cash flow cushion, you need to have a cushion for borrowing and all of those things. So that's not a great plan for Edmonton. Edmonton, of course, the city council, I guess they met for 12 hours. So it seemed like they're taking it seriously, at least. They mainly blamed a richer than budgeted settlement with unionized city staff and, of course, inflation. Now, Edmonton is promising to curb discretionary spending to try to get that $74 million deficit down by the end of the year, but we'll see. It is funny, though, that we didn't talk a lot about the unionized wage settlement, just that, oh, by the way, that's about half of what the cost overruns are. In Vancouver, though, expensive housing and costly enforcement of short-term rental rules has the council pondering an 800% increase in Airbnb license fees. They're also talking about doubling license fees for general contractors and nearly as much for trade contractors. Now, charging builders more to work in Vancouver seems pretty short-sighted, kind of stupid housing strategy, but what do you expect from city halls? They're always looking to extract more money out of the building industry instead of finding ways to encourage them to build more homes. I certainly don't think these general contractors or trade contractors are going to find double the amount of services or more efficient permits coming from City Hall because of this. So that's a frustration. And then, bashing Airbnbs, obviously very popular. It's a reflexive kind of thing for most people. And certainly those, kind of Airbnb mills where you have like 4 or 5 of these condos that you're renting out, that, that should probably be addressed in a stronger way. But taking away Airbnb revenue from people who use it as a mortgage helper, that has very bad consequences too, especially in a city like Vancouver where affordability is even worse than the national average. And finally, Skilled Trades BC, they oversee the province's apprenticeship programs. They announced this week that it now has more than 41,000 apprentices registered across 100 trades. That's a record. They also have record numbers of female and Indigenous apprentices. This seems like a very good time to remind everyone that the #1 sponsor of trades apprentices in the province of British Columbia, doubling its closest competitor, is the Independent Contractors and Businesses Association, ICBA. the very associations Facebook channel that you're watching right now. ICBA also the #1 sponsor of Indigenous trades apprentices in the province of British Columbia, and we can help you in Alberta as well. We have the ability now to sponsor apprentices there. If you have any questions about apprentices, you get a hold of our apprenticeship coordinator. She literally coordinates more apprentices in British Columbia than anyone else in the province. Kerry, Kerry, at icba.ca. If you have any questions, if you have any news tips, love to get stories in that you're finding. Send them to me, Jordan at icba.ca, and maybe you'll see it in tomorrow's news update. Thanks for watching.